My presentation is called Watertight, Furniture for Social Capital, Post-Disaster Recovery in Tohoku Fishing Villages, Japan. And just a word on that title. Social capital is probably the soft infrastructure that will be of the greatest help to fishing communities on the coast during the recovery process. And I use the term furniture rather than architecture to note the importance of the human scale, the human dimension of interventions into this fishing villages as a support to bolster that social capital. So the Sanriku coastline is the site of this project, and the specific site is the Oshika Peninsula. The Sanriku coastline, as you may know, is characterized by this wavy coastline, which is due to the steep mountains that embellish the coast and the rivers that drain their water and the rich forest fall of the forest comes down to the ocean and creates this rich habitat for fish. Those fish support the livelihoods of about 319 fishing ports, all of which receive the first impact of that wave, and all of which are in critical condition. So the site that I'm looking at specifically is on the southwestern coastline of the Oshika Peninsula here. It's called Kobuchihama. This site hosts not only a local fishing port, but also a prefectural level fishing port. So for that reason, it has been selected for reconstruction before the other fishing ports on this peninsula. So here are a few statistics about Kobuchihama. Before March 11th, there were 578 people living in 170 households, and as of May, 360 people in 20 households decided to remain and stick it out. On the left, we can see the beautiful landscape seen from above, looking back down on the village, and on the right, the view from the ground, showing the subsidence caused by the fall of the landmass after the earthquake, and illustrating the real need for a clear look at what to do about the interface between the land and the sea in this town and along many towns on this coastline. So on the bottom slide we can see here the fishing cooperative in section. The fishing cooperative, there's one in each town that has a fishing port. And it's really the main center of town for the fishing industry. Private business owners go to the fishing cooperative to receive fish from the boats, and the fishing cooperative hosts one of the main processing plants of those materials, where the fish products are processed, packaged, and then shipped out right again on the same in the same small site by truck out to the rest of the world. Upstairs is the meeting room, where discussions about... So the first part of this proposal addresses facilities for social capital and industry. The major node of that, of the social capital and industry of Kobuchihama, as we've seen, is the fishing cooperative organization, which, as I showed in previous slides, has been destroyed by the tsunami. So the first thing that the village needs to get back on its feet is to reconstruct that facility. This program program list is based on the original program of that previously existing fishing cooperative, with the addition of a few more offices upstairs, which are put there in the hopes that the reconstruction efforts can imagine new directions for ecotourism, for ecological stewardship, and for fisherman training. The second thing that the village needs is a pier. A pier addresses the subsidence issue and also suggests physically a connection to the outside world by extending into the ocean as it does. The Ministry of the Environment has announced plans to build a system of trails totaling 350 kilometers along the Sanriku coast, and the system will extend into the Oshika Peninsula. To access Kabuchihama, this proposal suggests the construction of a short spur trail. Aside from ecotourism, the trail could be used for forest harvesting. Locals using nearby forests to gather mountain vegetables. Encouraging these traditional practices gives locals not employed by the fishing industry a resource for supplementary subsistence, making them forest stewards. If institutions of watershed management are organized locally, they can aid the health and quality of the seafood downstream. The trail is the first step toward increasing local watershed stewardship. The final element of this proposal is a place to reflect. Sited at the spring of a stream that marks the northern boundary of the township, the mountain hut would mark the edge of Kabuchihama for a hiker from outside, an elderly Shinto worshiper or Buddhist worshiper, a mountain vegetable gatherer, or a small group of young people looking for a private place to chat or play. The structure harbors a table and benches, a composting toilet, and a bathtub. Like those rudimentary bathhouses constructed by survivors in the first months after the tsunami, the bathhouse uses water pumped from the nearby stream heated by a small stove. The bathhouse can serve a partially memorializing function by providing a visceral experience, the smell of burning wood, the fresh water from the stream, the challenging access route, in which to comfortably reflect on all that has happened. So this is a base map laying out what Kabuchihama was like before the disaster. As you can see, most of the housing was in the saddle, as I showed in the other section, between the topography, essentially, between the hills and small valleys of the rest of the area of the watershed. The watershed, as you can see, is defined along this ridge line. I've cut off the boundary of my site around this spring that runs through the site, connecting the forest to the estuary. You can see here the outlines of the oyster beds that we looked at earlier. The sharp edge of the wharf is here. This is the site of the old fishing cooperative. Here is the set of interventions applied to the post-disaster base map of Kabuchihama. You can see the subsidence and its effect along the coastline. And the fishing cooperative has been relocated up on the hill away from this saddle. From the fishing cooperative extends directly out this pier, which can hold a number of prongs as according to the design limit that we established. And then from the fishing cooperative along this access road, which incidentally was built to the height of the last major tsunami in 1933, we reach the rest of the mountainside. And along this trail, you eventually get to the bathhouse. Looking at this in time, the tsunami happened on March 11th, 2011. The local leadership decided to allow volunteers to assist in recovery in spring 2011. Oyster rafts were set up, seaweed rafts were set up, and the new cultivation cycle for the aquaculture was restarted. By August 2012, many people have either relocated to the nearby large city Ishinomaki, or they've moved into temporary housing. As I mentioned, the aquaculture has been restarted. The expected time for cultivation of that is 16 months. So by fall of 2012, the fishing cooperative facility needs to begin so that it can be completed in time for the oyster harvest. I think I might have misstated that. I think it needs to be finished by fall of 2012, so that in order to be ready in time for the harvest of the oysters. So I'm closing this presentation with this little series of photos of my main contact in Kabuchihama, Mr. Sasaki. He's the local community leader coordinating volunteers for cleaning up. That's the project. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please consider this proposal. Thank you.